Let's do this engine flame thing. I just rearrange my mic. Alright. Okay. We're gonna use the default cube. I go to wireframe mode and I just scale this cube along the y-axis like that. It's okay. Or maybe let's scale it up like this as well. Something like this. Okay, this is going to be our domain. Our domain, and let's go to the physics tab, physics properties tab, change it to fluid, change the domain, or increase the resolution, and let's change these gas buoyancy and heat values. These should be 0. These values will make the gas rising, and we don't really want that for this effect. Let's change the cache folder to a new one, because we need a cache folder, and I set the length to 150. Should be enough. Also in the output properties. Okay. And that's really just the domain where the simulation will happen, where we need to add some sort of geometry or inflow which provides this domain with information in regard of so the domain knows where to get the data from. So okay, let's add a cylinder. Let's go to edit mode and rotate it on the x-axis. Click X, hit X on the keyboard, and hold Ctrl down so you can rotate in steps. Alright, now I'm going to remove all polygons except this one, and this I will move like this, so the particles will emit this direction. Go back to object mode and go to the particles tab, and let's add a new particle system. Let's increase the number of particles 200,000, and the viewport display, let's decrease the size to 0.02, and let's see what happens. Okay, as you see, we probably will not need this gravity, right? Now let's set the lifetime and the velocity. Lifetime should be, let's set it to 2. Let's set this lifetime random to 0.1, just to give just a slight a bit of randomness. And okay, the source is okay, and now let's go over to the velocity tab, and I changed the normal, so normal speed to, let's say, like 30. It means the particles will emit emit along the normals. In this case, okay, this is the normal. To this direction. I also want to delete this centerpiece, so I use the inset tool. Shortcut is I. Let's delete this middle segment, and now we are going to emit only from this rim. Okay. Maybe the lifetime should be just 1. Okay, there. Alright, now let's go hop over to the physics properties tab for this particle emitter. I like to rename this thing, and cube. Let's rename the cube as domain I say, and this is our particle emitter, and let's change it to flow. And flow type is smoke, that's okay. Flow behavior is inflow, so it's continuous, and flow source should be particle system. So let's select the particle system. Set size, I like to use size 2, but you will see, you can modify it later. And let's add a initial velocity, so the generated voxels will have a initial speed. And now let's make a test run. There are a few things we need to adjust. Field waves. Let's set the gravity for this domain to 0, and let's set the dissolve value down to 3, and let's see one more time. Also, I noticed that this CFR number, let's increase it, and also for the particle emitter there is this sampling substeps. I generally like to use a bigger number, because when the particles are emitting, they are pretty fast, right? So the sampling substep value will help evaluating. So it will give a better result. It samples the animated particles on a higher frequency or a higher rate, so it's going to be more precise. Let's see if it's true, because before I saw these tiny glitches, but okay. Okay, this looks pretty okay. And we could use do one more thing, because the shape is not a little bit generic, but all right. I would rather build now the shader for this domain, but first I save this. And I'm going to delete this principal shader, because we need a volume shader for this domain. And also I go to the cycles tab and the render engine tab. I will change this render engine to cycles and GPU compute. Also these max sample values are pretty high, so I set it back to for the viewport 16. And also one more thing, the color of the environment on this the word properties. You see there is a color, a background color. I set it to black because fire generally looks better in a dark background. So okay, we don't see anything, it's good because we don't have a shader, but soon we have one. And it's under shader, principled volume. Let's make a bit more space and plug this into the volume. So this is our simulation. We need a input, a volume info input, because we need the density per voxel, the density volume. And I want to emphasize so I want to make look this a bit more interesting, and for this purpose I have the color ramp, which is very useful when working with volumes. And I will plug the density to the factor or factorial, and I want to use this with the emission strengths. Okay, so as you see, now we can play with these values, and I just make this black as well. This is already a bit more interesting. Let's change the emission color to a bluish or orange, and also let's change the color. You can change the density. If you increase, it's going to be very dense. As you see, it's not transparent anymore. If you set it to 0, I think for flames this density value should be a fairly low number, right? And now comes the fun part, sort of, because we can add a math node in it's under converter math, and using the power and the multiply you can make this narrower or brighter, adding a multiply node, or longer. And also I just noticed that if I duplicate this and put it here, this will increase the brightness. Okay, so basically this is the the smaller the power, the more you see from the volume. Experiment, okay? I cannot emphasize that. This is basically the bare minimum you have to know. Now everything after this is just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. So I will stop this video now. I hope this made some sense at least. So experiment with it, and see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and bye.